What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 3, Week 7 of the Wezette Division. This is my division. It should be exciting to check out today. We've got 5 awesome best of 3s for you guys. Let's jump into the standings. First place, we've got none other than MacRain, coach of the Materia Hunters, with 16 points. Only one single series loss this season, and he did bring that one to 3 games. That was against Shadow 91. Otherwise has won all 5 of his other weeks. Ram9, our defending champion, coach of the Rock Boys, with 14 points, in really good position up to this point. Garouken of Corked and Screwed and Numero 80 of Blind Enthusiast, both sitting with 13 points in 3rd and 4th place respectively. Garouken did win that head-to-head last week, so he has the tiebreaker if they remain tied in the standings. Chisei of the Heretics with 12 points. If the season ended today, would be our final playoff team, but it ain't ending today. Greatestness of State Military with 11 points, only 1 point out. Shadow 91 of the Logic Breakers with 9. My team, Zanarkand Abes, with 8. And that is pretty much where the playoff push kind of ends. Even my team is pretty much a long shot. But Mr. Aloha team, hashtag PokeSquid, looking to play spoiler this week and the next couple. And the same with Bam and the Black Turtles with 2 points. Should be really, really interesting, guys. Let's check out the matches. Game number 1 here of the Materia Hunters versus the Black Turtles. The Black Turtles looking for their first series win against none other than the first place team in our division. It's going to be a tough uphill battle here, but evasion skills comes out from Pissarro, along with the Dario, Hourne, and Minwoo, a team I'm very familiar with as they clapped me a few weeks back. Pursuit techniques coming out from the Charisse, and it looks like Bam is running a Charisse, Katia, and Kefka team composition. Very, very interesting strategy here. Minwoo, what is she going to go for? It's going to be Dragon's Bloodline. So trying to nullify any sort of status effects like Berserk and Charm. I believe it even does Stop as well. But very, very smart coming out here, as I just can't believe it comes out from Kefka. And I just can't believe how good Kefka has been in general this season for a number of divisions, especially JB79, putting in some great work with him all season. Pissarro going to go up next with Indomitable Spirit, getting courage and physical damage online, even a little bit of AP to boot. Katia's going to finish her spell. It's Dual Veil, Dark, and Earth. So I'm not entirely sure if expecting any sort of Dark or Earth damage from the other side, but just making sure to get some of those buffs on the entire team while they're clumped up. Sentinel comes out from the Dario, so he is very, very tanky at this moment. If it wasn't enough, he's going to catch a haste as well to make him even speedier. Charisse is going to follow up with her friend, partner in crime here, the Kefka, with another pursuit techniques, just basically refresh that. And she's very squishy with only 6,500 health, but Bam is hoping that she can at least bring some pain. As Katia is going to channel another spell here, will it be the same one refreshed, or is this a brand new buff like Calamity Guard, or this one, Erase Bright Ward? It's a very good buff, gives deep buff resistance to the entire team here. And Kefka is ready to go. He's ready to do some damage. Come on, let's play. Drops the Spirit, but it does less than 1,000 damage. And if there's anything I can give a lot of credit to MacRain for, he is an absolute beast at making defensive teams. Like, he is just so damn good at soaking damage from the other side. The Draining Seal comes out from MacRain's Dario. It actually does even more than Kefka did to the Dario. And also the other member of MacRain's team, Pissarro, catching the haste from Minwoo. So MacRain is looking like they are in very, very good position at this moment, as Fall of the Stars, or Fall with the Stars, comes out from Charisse. It's an awesome looking limit break, only doing 2,200 damage. It does drop the haste that was on Dario, though, as this Erase Bright Ward buff just gets refreshed from Katia. Strike of Ruin, though, does a ton of damage, just barely, doesn't one-shot the Charisse. But man, is she even going to get an opportunity to deal any damage here? Kefka's going to go next. He needs to drop a massive limit break for Bam to have a chance here. I think he needs to land a Confusion. Dance of the Mad comes out. Does the Confusion land onto anybody? 1971 onto the Dario and lands the Confusion. Deals some chip to Minwoo as well, but she does not get confused, and I think it would have been pretty important for it to land onto her, as she is going to sit in the back and heal with the Greater Law of Invigoration. Boosts herself up, gives herself some more agility to boot, and this confused Dario, who does he go for? He goes for the Kefka. It really doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but I think that's all really MacRain needs here. Pissarro is going to finish off the Kefka, at least his first life. He's going to come back here and gain some CT, but can he do anything to turn this around? This is still a full health Pissarro with courage and hasted up. Charisse, what can you go for here? There needs to be some good AoEs to have a chance here. Frost Axe does some damage, does not land the Frostbite crucially onto Pissarro though. I think if that Frostbite landed, maybe there's a little chance you whittle down his AP. But this channeled spell from Kefka, will he even be able to finish it? The answer is no. Trick Thrust comes out from Pissarro, lands the kill here, and MacRain's team is in a 3v2 advantage. So Minwoo's going to just heal up Dario to full as if he even needed it. He is a very bulky guy here. As Charisse is going to go again, does she go with another Frost Axe? Yes, it is. So opting for this slash attack instead of the Ranger type skills, lands the Frostbite onto Pissarro. If that was a turn sooner, maybe it would matter, but I think he has enough AP to get something done here. Draining Seal is going to do 2,000, heal himself up again. And I'm not sure they have enough damage to whittle through this Dario, even if this Pissarro didn't have AP, which he has plenty of. He's going to go with the Falcon Slash. That is a kill onto the Charisse with 19 actions left. Minwu is going to go for another big ol' heal. The one weakness of Minwu is she doesn't have a ton of big AoE heals, but these Greater Law of Invigorations are really, really strong here. Kadi's going to start channeling a spell. I imagine this is a raise. I don't think she has full life in her kit, but she's going to try and at least bring Charisse back to say, hey, let's try our best. I don't think Charisse has reflex in her kit, which means she's probably dead here. Yeah, she's dead to a standard attack from Pissarro, and it's pretty much just delaying the inevitable here. MacRain should be able to pick up this game 1 victory. Minwu probably going to go for a haste. I don't think Dario's low enough to catch a heal, so it'll give some defense and some speed. Kadi, I think, has another channel of raise coming through here. And Dario is pretty much just playing with his food at the moment, as he's not going to go for any damage. He's just going to go for another barrier. Thankfully for me, the raise is going to whiff to try and make sure that this fight ends sooner than later. AP Break Lance comes out from Pissarro, and that is a Game 1 victory for the Materia Hunters. Heading into Game 2 here, and Bam has completely switched up his lineup here. Looks like a Mish, Halloween Little Leela, and Gilgamesh composition. And I do like the adjustment here. As long as Halloween Little Leela is accurate enough to hit the Pissarro, she might be able to hit some decent AoEs onto Pissarro, or maybe even the backline healer. And I kind of like this strategy. We'll see if it works out. So the Halloween Little Leela is actually going to use the Haste TMR on turn 1 as some Keenblade, the evasion skills, all this good stuff coming out from MacRain. Pretty standard, same as the first fight. And the Dragon's Bloodline, again, just to nullify some of those really pesky status effects, some of those top tier ones, like the Charm and the Berserk. So the Keenblade coming out from Gilgamesh, getting slash attack up and that CT up for the party. And Misha's going to go next with the Fresh Blood Rune. I've never seen this in a fight before. This is something I've toyed around with using in PvP, but I've never actually done it in a fight that mattered. This is Howlet TMR. If you guys don't know how this works, maybe I shouldn't give it away, but the next turn, basically Mish can't take physical damage until the next turn. He sacrifices some of his HP in order to be able to do that. So Minwu's going to start channeling a spell here. Sentinel is going to come out from Dario, and he's going to walk forward. Gilgamesh, what does he have in store for us? He's going to start channeling a spell. Is this a self-haste, or is this a quicken onto the Mish? If it's a quicken onto the Mish, it might be a little awkward, as only 800 damage from the Halloween Little Leela. I said it in Game 1. MacRain is a beast at building defensive units, and unfortunately, this Fresh Blood Rune not going to do anything for Mish here, as that turn is going to be nullified. He's going to do some damage onto the Dario. Did I say some? I meant A damage. 1 damage comes out. I think that is a 100 Spirit or 100 Magic Resist Dario. I'm not sure which. I don't know what kind of penetrations Mish has, but he wasn't long for this world anyway, as Pissarro just one-shots the poor guy. Halloween Little Leela is going to go next. Find an AoE onto the Minwu, but man, she must have some decent AoE resist in the back as well. Taking less than 3k there. Taunting Blade from Dario does 2400. Not even a physical damage dealer, but dealing a decent chunk there. And Gilgamesh, do you have anything here? Maybe a Kotetsu or something? No, he's just going to walk forward to quicken Little Leela again. Can she go for another one to kill this Minwu? I think she would need to crit to even get close to having a chance here. Height 3 Holy is going to come out. If it crits, maybe? I think a crit might have killed it. Did 3733. She looks pretty low. Little more damage than the last spell did, but Binding Javelin doesn't quite damage cap, but it does almost 12,000 to the Gilgamesh. And this, unfortunately, is a pretty one-sided affair for MacRain versus Bam. Another Taunting Blade comes out from Dario, going to whittle him down. Minwu, I'm imagining, is just going to heal herself to full here. Greater Law of Invigoration will come out, and Pissarro should be able to clean this up here. He's got 62 AP. Does he even need it? The answer is no. And that is a clean 2-0 series victory for MacRain and the Materia Hunters. All right, guys, we've got numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiasts versus Shadow 91 of the Logic Breakers. Numero 80 bringing a Sephiroth, Curry, Wezette, and Little Leela team, as Sephiroth is immediately going to go King Bradley TMR and haste himself up, as this is a Thancred sighting from the other side. Revitalize going to pop bells and get some AP going with an Elshra Time Mage setup. Okay, Frostmaw Barrage comes out from Curry. Did the Frostbite land? It did land onto Elshra. I can't see whether it landed onto Thancred. I don't think it did. Okay, that is crucial for Shadow, because if that landed, I think this fight is immediately over no matter what. As the Quicken goes on to Celis, so now she has used both her Runic and the unit attack resist buff, so hoping for Shadow she can tank up some damage. Veil of Woe is going to come out from the Sephiroth, so now he has his barrier online. He's ready to go. What kind of damage can Thancred do, though? Apparently none at this moment. His ranges are not very strong, but he's going to go Dragon's Kin, try and increase his damage and get a Protect online. As Meteor comes out from Elshra, how much does it do? 4,800, not bad onto the tank here. Curry's going to find the Frostmaw Barrage, though, and this time it frostbites all three, and this is why this unit is so damn good. Here comes Celis with the Rune Break, going to drop the Spirit. But man, oh man, Sephiroth, can he find an AoE? Yes, he can. Hell's Gate is going to one-shot the Time Mage, and it is now up to one of the newest Dark 100 cost units, Sephiroth, versus the oldest Light 100 cost unit, Thancred. Fortunately for Shadow, Celis is going to soak up that magic damage, but what can you do, Thancred? This is your time to shine, buddy. Blasting Zone 2 comes out, and unfortunately cannot even get a kill onto the Little Leela. Sephiroth is going to follow this up, and I expect this to do a ton of damage to both of these units here. We'll have to see. Octoslash comes out. It kills the Celis, does a ton to the Thancred, and unfortunately, Thancred is about, I don't know, 50 or 60 patches too late to pull this off, I think. Little Leela's going to go next with the Shadow Flare. Is she able to kill here? 26-17 is enough, and that is a Game 1 victory for the Blind Enthusiasts. Heading into game number 2, I will say I was a bit surprised to see the Thancred in game 1, but I'm liking this comp coming up from Shadow in game 2. It is Perrine, Velis, and Uni. Very, very interesting. So Greater Domain of Water comes out from the Perrine. Velis, I imagine, should go for a haste on him and probably Uni, or maybe Perrine. As Sephiroth is going to do the same thing as last time. The only switch up it looks like coming out from Numero's side is Curry and Leela are going to switch to the other side of the map. Curry's going to go Hunter's Distinction, get that missile attack, piercing, and all that kind of good stuff. Revitalize coming out from the Uni, so he's got tons of AP at the moment. Wasn't really able to do anything last time. Can he get anything done this time? Can he maybe nullify that haste on the Sephiroth? That could be pretty big if he's able to do that. Stars of Swiftness going to come out, so now the entire team on Shadow is hasted up, as Veil of Woe is going to come out from Sephiroth yet again. Perrine going to go Raging Waters, so remove Protect on attack. All right, here comes Uni. What is he going to go for? He's going to go with the Barrage, so no Nullify on the Haste and the Quicken. Not that it would have mattered, because that's Little Leela. Frostmaw Barrage coming out again from Curry, and it frostbites the Perrine. That is brutal for Shadow. That is so tough to deal with. She might run out of AP before she really gets into this fight. She's down to 60, and unfortunately, she's going to lose even more next turn. This is so crippling. Frostbite is just absolutely brutal when you are a physical unit. And this is going to be really hard for Shadow to win at this point. Silencing Spell comes out from Little Leela. It's going to silence both units and drop healing power, which is massive as well when you have a Velis in the backline. And unfortunately, I think this comp with Little Leela and Curry just shuts down so many of Shadow's options on his team. He is really up against it here. Perrine is going to go next, but she drops 24 of her AP before she even acts. Vortex Kick's going to go here, do a little bit of damage, but she's almost out of AP already before she even gets to act. Hell's Gate is 4,800 damage. She tanks that decently well, but I just don't know how she's going to do damage without AP. Curry's going to go next. He's going to go for another Frostmaw Barrage, just chunking down these units incredibly well. Velis should be able to go for another heal here, but I don't think it'll even heal him to full with that healing power down from Leela. Uni, what can he find here? Some sort of AoE or something like that. He's going to go for the Punishing Slow Arrow onto Curry and one-shots him. If Uni could have done that sooner in the fight, I think this would have looked really good for Shadow. I will say it's not over, because Frostbite will fade, I think, after this turn. I think. As Grado Domain of Water comes out again from Perrine, if she can live another turn or two, maybe she has a chance, but it's going to be so difficult to do this. Shadow Flare comes out from Sephiroth, and he's sitting there with 116 AP after that kill. Velis, what do you got in the bag? Goes standard attack here, so I think Shadow has offensive spells turned off to make him no, he's silenced. What am I talking about? I'm insane. I'm drunk. Don't listen to me. Silencing spell comes out from Little Leela, going to re-silence and re-drop that healing power. Telluric Fury is enough to kill the Perrine. And man, unfortunately, that Frostbite was just too crippling, and this perma-silenced Velis really can't do much here. Unfortunate. So the Sephiroth is going to go with the Aeolian Onslaught, find the kill onto the Velis, and that is a Game 2 victory for the Blind Enthusiast. Very well played. The Frostbite was a great tech, paired with the healing power down and silence. I think there was just so little that Shadow can do, and unfortunately those two status effects are not 25%ers where you could just build a Trust Stone. Curry's is 50%, I believe, and Little Leela's, I think, is even higher than that. So really tough matchup for Shadow with GG, and congrats to Numero 80. Next up to bat, we've got Ram 9 and the Rock Boys versus Greatestness of State Military. Greatestness running in Engelbert, Severo, and King Bradley comp, as Leave This to Me comes out from Ram 9's Reagan, who was paired alongside the Miranda and Murmur comp, the full Red Mage team. Very cool to see. The Poise comes out from King Bradley, so this is Courage, physical damage, and some AP, as Sorceress's Liberation. Dark Fina TMR coming out from Miranda, try and get that cast time down and allow herself to pierce magic resistance. That Courage buff coming out from Engelbert, who doesn't have his 140 yet, but he is a very healthy man there with about 14k HP. Severo should be going for his own Courage here, and Haste. And speaking of Haste, Reagan will catch a fast cast from Murmur, also going Protecting the Light of the Future with almost 11,000 health for himself. He's going to have his own Courage online. There are several units on the field with Courage. Count them up. I think it's 4 at the moment, and Miranda hasn't even used hers yet. Speaking of, she might go for here, Immortal Spirit. 5 out of 6 units on the field currently have Courage. That is a lot of courageous people out here. Murmur going to go next, going to go with the fast cast. Is it on herself or is it onto Miranda? Terra Slash coming out from Engelbert, 2k. I don't think that's what you wanted to see from Greatestness. You probably want a Taunting Blade with some hate, or maybe him even go for a barrier or something like that, as Reagan does a good chunk to start this fight out. Calculated Rend actually soaked up very well by Reagan. How much AoE res is that guy rocking right now? That is incredible. Fast cast is going to hit the Murmur, so she's going to use it on herself, but Severo with a very clutch heal from the backline. That could be very, very good for Greatestness. Miranda's going to go for a sleep, though. Water Good Dispeller, and it lands on both Engelbert and Bradley. Does Reagan break the sleep at all? He's going to go Crimson Blade Strike, removes Courage on both, and Reagan absolutely decimates Greatestness team. Severo is now in a 1v3, and this fight, which looked interesting to start, is now incredibly one-sided. Severo, what do you got in the tank here, bud? Jamming Thrust, actually a good chunk of damage, procs the Courage on Miranda, but it's going to be too little too late. She's going to thrust herself. Dispelling Thrust will proc the Courage. Reagan should be able to clean this up here, and Surge Strike will do it. This is a Game 1 victory for Ram 9 and the Rock Boys. Game 2 here, what does Greatestness have as a response? Bringing the same 3 units, but maybe a switch up. The switch up is coming from Ram 9's side here, though, as he is running a Alphonse, Amnelis, and Surges composition. Interesting. I don't know if we've seen this before. This is the Urel TMR coming out from Surges, as Alphonse is healthy with 16.5k HP. Going with Expertise of the Alchemist, he's going to walk forward. Now, we have seen this guy from Ram 9 just tank up literally everything, as the Vega TMR getting used by the Amnelis to try and berserk her enemies. Engelbert's going to go up next, set the pace coming out. This is the Addison Ray TMR. Probably a smart move to bring, since there was a ton of haste on the other side last fight. But I'm not sure that Ram 9 is even going for that strategy this time. This is the Courage and Haste buff coming out from Severo. Bradley's going to use his own TMR to get himself some reaction block and get very, very fast here. And what is Amnelis going to go for here? She's going to start channeling a spell. Surges going with the Life Circulator again, so just refreshing that buff on the Alphonse, but also getting it on the entire party this time. Divine Healing going to get healing power up and even more HP. He is at 17.4 thousand at the moment after using that buff. That is absolutely bananas. Bananas. And Surge Strike does a little bit of chip onto the Alphonse, but it is not a whole lot coming out from the Engelbert. Calculated Rend even from Bradley doing less than 5k. And if your King Bradley, the strongest Earth unit in the game, is only doing that much, that is rough. I will say the Water Gut Perpetuator coming out from Severo drops the Bravery, and that could be a big deal in nerfing Bradley's damage, but Photon Pulse does so much from the Amulet and berserks the Engelbert. I will say at least it's the Engelbert from Greatestness side, as the sleep lands on Amulet. Bradley kills Amulet, and now all of a sudden this is actually looking very good for Greatestness. I thought this looked rough at first, but Surge's Leaping Assault procs the Courage on Bradley. Alphonse is going to go before him, and he should be able to clean up this kill here. Stalagmite Transmutation finds the double kill, and you have got to be kidding me. They still find the kill on Bradley. This Alphonse takes 1 damage from Engelbert, and I think we all know how this is going to end. Vacuum Slash from Surges, who might have just been the MVP here, came in with some big damage at the perfectly timed moment. Armored Flash Kick will keep Alphonse at his 17.4k HP. Engelbert decides, hey, I want to do more than 1 damage on this attack, so he decides to attack Surges instead. But he might be able to clean this up right here. 1396, that's going to do it. And that is a Game 2 victory for Ram 9 and the Rock Boys. Next up, guys, we've got Chisei, coach of the Heretics, versus Mr. Aloha, team of #PokeSquid. And it should be an interesting one here. Chisei running the composition he ran against my team. It is the Titus, Naya, and Stern Wing of Destiny composition versus a spell of fortification that comes out from Halloween Lucia, along with Roy Mustang and Sosha. Fuel to the Fire comes out from Roy, and both of these magic damage dealers are pretty much ready to go already, as the Dragon's Bloodline comes out from Naya, just like some of the other fights we've seen, trying to nullify some of those really important status effects. Keenblade coming out from Sosha, going to walk forward. It looks like she might be wearing a bow tie. I only saw 2 movement there, as Saintly Fortress comes out from Titus, and this is really his biggest buff that he needs to become a tank. Attritional Protection, though. Halloween Lucia is going to be very good against physical damage. Even somebody like Stern Wing of Destiny might struggle just a little bit to eat through her, and I think Mr. Aloha is hoping that's enough. The Reawakening buff comes out from Stern, so he's got his re-raise, and he's ready to go. And Naya's going to channel, is it a Protect or a Reflect? It's probably one of the two. Law of Mitigation comes out from Roy, and he's taking the scenic route here as he is walking around way over to the side. He's walking pretty far away from this fight. Dragon's Might comes out from Sosha. She actually cannot get in range due to that bow tie having that limited movement. But the Magic Reflex from Titus right out of the gate, this Arcane Assimilation. The Limit Break is going to land. Does the follow-up attack even go if it misses? It doesn't. The follow-up attack doesn't even do damage. She got it in her kit now, but it doesn't hurt at all. And unfortunately, that Bowtie Sosha lasted a total of 1 hit before she died. And the Blade Bash, it doesn't do damage, but it lands the stun on the Halloween Lucia. So far in the RNG war, Titus is very much winning versus this Halloween Lucia. True Triple Combustion is going to hit the Reflect, and it really doesn't do that much damage to himself, but Stern is going to follow up with this massive slash chain, delete the Halloween Lucia, and this is looking rough for Mr. Aloha. I don't think it would have mattered. A bit of unluckiness right out of the gate, though, and this is going to be tough to overcome. Roy Mustang, what do you have here? Do you have any sort of backline damage? Addison Ray, I haven't seen this happen yet from the VC active, that new Addison Ray VC. Very, very cool to see. About 8k damage is pretty respectable, as Naya's going to go for a heal here, but Titus, can he clean it up? Blade Bash will do it. 1800 damage, and that is a Game 1 victory for Chisei and the Heretics. Game number 2 here. Does Chisei close it out in 2, or does Mr. Aloha bring it to a Game 3? We'll see. The team comps same from both sides of the field here. Pinion of Steel coming out from the Stern Wing of Destiny, getting some AoE res and all that good stuff. Spell of Fortification, not a surprise from Halloween Lucia. Looks like the positioning might be a little different from Mr. Aloha, though. I don't think they're in the exact same spots as last time. I could be wrong here. Fuel to the Fire comes out from the Roy. Dragon's Bloodline from Naya. So basically the buffs are the exact same. But again, I think this positioning is slightly different. It looks like still 2 movement from the Sosha, though. So she is still running that bow tie strategy. Saintly Fortress from the Titus. He's got his physical barrier and he's got hate. The physical barrier will only matter for Sosha though, as the attritional protection comes out from Halloween Lucia, and I'm thinking that this starting position from Aloha has to be at least a little different, as Halloween Lucia is tracking very differently, as is Sosha. Reawakening coming out from the stern, so he's got his re-raise, and everybody is moving a little differently, and sometimes this can make all the difference. Naya's going to start channeling. I imagine this is another Reflect. It didn't do that much damage to Roy last time when he got hit by his own spell, but I'm curious to see how it plays out this time, as it is the Reflect. And what can Sosha do? She's just going to go for Dragon's Might again. Does she stay perched up on high? No, she's going to go way down on the ground, actually. This will be interesting. Halloween Lucia looks like she is still out of range, probably a range height issue, as Convergence comes out from stern. This time does not one-shot the Sosha. Does that end up mattering, as Blade Bash from Titus onto the Halloween Lucia, so he cannot reach Sosha, but Sosha still should have one hate left. And this time the stun does not land on Lucia, so this is at least looking better for Mr. Aloha. This spell will not get reflected, as the Purgatory Firestorm, I think is what it was called. Absolutely awesome fire chain started by Roy Mustang here. And what does Sosha go for? She's going to try and drop onto the head of Titus here. Can they get rid of the tank? Halloween Lucia should be able to do a decent... No. Oh, Toad's Curse goes to Reflect. I didn't even realize that. That's actually massive for Mr. Aloha here, as the Reflect will basically do nothing. Aegis Crush, though, from stern one-shots Roy, and that is rough. This Bowtie Sosha does not gather the attack because she was up in the sky, or else she would have soaked a hit. The full life from Naya actually brings back Titus, and now all of a sudden, this is looking really tough for Aloha again. As here comes Halloween Lucia, what is she going to go for? She's going to go for her own limit break here. This time it does not get Magic Reflex, so we get to see how much damage it would have done last time. 7,400 is a ton, and the Arcane Shot did 35, so 11k that got missed out on fight 1. Here's the limit break from stern, though, and you have to imagine that this is probably all but over here. Limit Break's going to give himself some haste. Soaked fairly well because of the physical health shield coming out from Halloween Lucia, but it's going to be too late. Naya's going to start channeling a heal here. This should go off in plenty of time, as Titus will go for the standard attack. Hidden Resistance comes up, but yeah, a little bit too late here. And then basically the entire team is full health. Stern should be able to clean it up with a standard attack for 7k, and that is a clean 2-0 win for Chisei and the Heretics. Heading into this series, guys, Garouken, coach of Corked and Screwed, is running Charlotte, Lucio, Silma, the first full Red Mage Sword composition, with the Crimson Resistance coming out from Silma on turn 1. On the other side, I am running the full Greatsword team here to execute Order 66. Revitalize coming out from the Lucio, so he's got bells and he is ready to go. And hopefully you guys caught that Star Wars reference with the full lightsaber team. Concentration comes out from Cloud to get agility up on the party. Defensive piercing rate as well. And Keen Blade from Shutzelt on his first turn to get everybody moving forward, get that CT up by about 500. Heart of Flutter comes out from Rain, a tech I've used before, get that unit attack resistance up and also allow him to have some additional movement. Otherwise, he's normally just 3-1 move jump. Attract Wall coming out from Charlotte, though, to try and gain some additional hate, and also debuff resistance for defense and spirit, as well as some elemental stuff. Very, very good. King Bradley TMR on the Cloud to make sure he's nice and speedy. Just like Lightning McQueen, Hazard Revival coming out from the Shutzelt, so now he has Courage and a self-heal back, and Rain should finally be able to close the gap. Can he reach damage? He cannot, actually. Astral Guard comes out, so now he has a ton of extra hate, as well as a 3-hit magical barrier. I will say, guys, I brought the full Greatsword team expecting him to bring Fire Evade. This is a very, very accurate team on my side. Silma's going to channel a spell, which I imagine is a fast cast. Scintillating Eclipse does just about 3k to Rain, so I'm pretty happy with that amount of damage. Feel like he tanked that up quite nicely. Charlotte going to follow up, though, drop his Lightning Resist. Just kidding. He has the Elemental Debuff Resist. He actually resisted the Lightning Debuff. Doesn't do a whole lot, but Mega Slash from Cloud puts down the pain onto the Charlotte. She's going to catch some unit attack resist from the fast cast, though. It doesn't matter because Pressure Hazard is an AoE. Shutzelt chains up with the Cloud, finds the kill onto Charlotte, and now they need to focus in on the Lucio. Rain says, hey, I'll start this nice little chain for you, and the haste from Cloud is too much. He's going to lap Lucio, and with that chain, Braver does over 9,000 damage. just like from DBZ, and is now in a 3v1 in my favor in game number 1. Garouken Silma can bring the pain, but she's going to go for a Shadow Flare on the entire party. There's a good chunk of AoE resist on the group. It does get dropped there on that damage as the self-heal comes through for Shutzelt. He's going to go with a Drain Force for about 4,700. Heal himself back up to full, even though he was already there. Stun Blade comes out from Cloud, and that seals the game 1 victory for my squad. Heading into game number 2 here, guys, I expected him to bring Earth units, expecting me to bring my Lightning units again, but he doesn't fall for it. He sticks with the exact same comp that he brings for game 1, as I switch to a couple of missile units along with Mont Leonis as the tank. The Crimson Resistance comes out from Silma to try and get some missile attack resistance up on the party, which will be useful against the likes of Jaden and Lucia. A Track Wall comes out from Charlotte. She's going to move forward with some hate, and Lucio going to pop bells just like last time, so very initial same turn rotation, very similar, but Magiblast immediately coming out from Jaden. He doesn't even get a chance to buff, actually gets baited out on turn 1. Deals a decent amount of AoE to both of those members, though, as Lucia is not quite in range. She's actually going to go for Sharpshooting stance. My tank on the other side here is going to go Words of Reproach, the Edward Elric TMR. Not getting any sort of additional movement, gives unit attack resist and regen. Walks near my party members, though, which is a little spooky. I'm not entirely sure if Lucio can hit an AoE from here. Swift Punishment drops the agility, does a little bit of damage here. I'm hoping that Lucio can't reach. He does not, actually. He goes for the Limit Break, Luminous Grace, just onto the Mont. It looks like it is a height range issue. I believe this ability is only height range 1, which means it only hits Mont, but it does so much damage. Lucio absolutely eating his Wheaties at this moment. And what is Silma going to do here? She should not be able to find damage from here, but she's going to go for a Fast Cast, which a little scary for me if Lucio gets hasted up. The Magiblast hits 2 different units, though, and I'm hoping for one more AoE to take out Lucio, but Sharpshoot comes out from Lucia, not to be confused with Lucio, killing the Charlotte. Fast Cast is going to go actually on Silma, not onto Lucio, and I'm hoping Mont can move out of the way so I don't get any AoEs. He does just that. Jamming Edge just does barely any damage here, though. And coming into the fight, my Mont only has 5 hate. He's already taken 1 hit. This is hit number 2, which means after this hit, he will no longer have any hate. Actually, I take that back. I think Lightning or Charlotte already attacked, so I think that's attack number 3, which means Mont does not have any hate, and this is why Lucio is able to go backline Tri-Slasher onto the Lucia. So the 3 hits from Mont already took place. She gets scoped, but speaking of, Jaden takes out the Lucio, and that is a kill. However, Jaden is completely out of AP at this moment, so I'm a little scared because Mont did not get his courage off. Thundera comes out. That is enough damage to kill the Mont. Jaden's going to go, but he's out of AP. Just goes for the standard attack, and I'm hoping to God that Silma cannot one-shot my Jaden. If she can, this is really, really bad for me. She goes for Resistance Break. It's a ton of damage. Drops the Spirit, but it's not enough to kill, but she laps. She laps, and she is going to go next. The only thing that could save me is Magic Reflex. Otherwise, I am absolutely doomed, but I speak it into existence. I said that during our fight. Gets the Magic Reflex, dodges the Unavailable Pain, proves that Unavailable Pain actually is available, turns around and shoots her in the back of the head, and Jaden pulls off the most clutch reflex ever, like Michael Jordan in the 4th. Honestly, I got pretty lucky here. I'm not going to lie. I was very fortunate that Jaden got that reflex at that exact opportune time. I will say... Over the course of my 2 fights, I'm running a lot of different units that have reflex, so at some point I'm gonna land one, but the fact that it happened on like the very last turn was very, very fortunate for me. So GG's to Garouken. Let's check out the standings. All right, guys, 7 weeks done, only 2 weeks remaining. This is how the Wezette standings shake out. We've got MacRain of the Materia Hunters with 19 points, officially clinching a playoff spot. I don't think anybody had any doubt that was going to happen, but a 6-0-1 record with plus 10, looking really impressive throughout the season. Ram9, coach of the Rock Boys with 17 points, also clinches himself a playoff spot. So we will see these 2 teams. We will see Ram9 trying to defend his title this season. It should be awesome to see. Numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiast all alone in 3rd place now that Garouken lost this week, so he is sitting at 16 points. He has not officially clinched a playoff spot, but if he wins one more series, he will be in there, and if he wins even one more game, he has a very good chance at clinching. There are technically, I think there's one really weird scenario in a 3-way tie where if Numero 80 was at 17, Garouken was at 17, and I was at 17, that I think Technically, numero 80 would be the odd man out there, but pretty much if he wins it all over the last 2 weeks, he should be in the playoffs. Chisei of the Heretics with 15 points, not far behind, pretty much the same story. Garouken of Corked and Screwed with 13 points is now the 5th seed instead of the 3rd seed, but he is still in control of his own destiny in those last couple weeks. I moved myself up from 8th place to 6th place, which is exciting, but I still need a lot to go my way to try and make that top 5, but I'm still going to try my hardest to do so. Shout out to Garouken. I do apologize for the little bit of bad luck in game 2, but I do feel like I had a little bit of good luck coming my way, as the last couple of weeks, just a couple of things not going well for me. So I was pretty happy to finally be on the right side of some of that RNG. So that being said, Greatestness of State Military also has 11 points and is not out of it yet. He is going to look to try and win those last couple weeks and have a shot there. Shadow 91 of the Logic Breakers might have to play spoiler. I don't think he's technically disqualified from the playoffs, but it's going to be a real long shot to try and make it. But he's got a good squad and could definitely pull some wins over these last couple weeks. And Mr. Aloha of Team #PokeSquid and Bam of the Black Turtles. They've got a couple of really good opportunities to try and play spoiler, and I'm going to reach out to them directly and say, hey, please win at least 1 or 2 of those games. It would really help me a lot if I do happen to win my final 2 weeks. I think I'm relying on one of them to win one of their games to give me a shot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Regardless, I'm just going to try and finish strong. And if I don't make the top 5 and don't make playoffs, I'm going to try and defend my Toilet King crown this season. So we'll see how it goes, but I hope you guys enjoyed these matches regardless. I'm excited for the last couple weeks to see how they shake out, and it'll be entertaining. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.